moment has arrived, people. It's a big day. It's a big day. For me, personally, this is something I've always wanted to do. The Tiz podcast has arrived. The Inner Sauce, baby. Episode 1. I don't know. I'm just kind of going to come in with an idea of a general topic. And, you know, I would like this thing to grow into the point where we got guests. Could be you guys. Could be, I don't know, other YouTube channels. We'll see. But for now, I got stuff to say, man. I got a lot of things going on in my life, in my immediate family's lives. And it has inspired me to just talk about a few things. Some things that we've talked about in the past. But, yeah, man, welcome. Welcome. The way this is going to work from a content standpoint is my patrons, my Saucytrons, are going to see these episodes first. My plan is to post these every Monday on Patreon. And then that episode will go live on YouTube that Friday. So episode 2 will be live this upcoming Monday on Patreon. And then it will go live on YouTube that following Friday. Yeah, man. I don't want to say too much because I don't know who watches these things and I don't want to spill anybody's personal business. But man, oh man. Tired of seeing people that I love get hurt. And you know, I was talking to my sister the other day. And I feel like I was blessed. I consider it definitely a blessing. That I was able to see firsthand under my roof. I mean, not necessarily my parents, but firsthand I was able to see the extreme end of the spectrum when it comes to, let's just call it chivalry or commitment or companionship or blah, 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 etc., etc. I saw both ends of the spectrum, man. One extreme to the other, I saw it all. And not many people, okay, not many people, I am very confident in saying, were blessed with seeing the good end of the spectrum. The end of the spectrum where nobody's walking on eggshells. There's no question on if this particular couple is going to stay together, be together, dedicate themselves to each other for the rest of their lives. There's no question. Like, it's not even a thought in anybody's mind, theirs included. It's just a lost art for some reason, and I think that's a big part of it. I think that's a big part of the reason is so many people grow up without that end of the spectrum being present in their lives. So all they ever see is breakups, divorces, bad situations with, you know, when there's kids involved and child support and who gets what and despising each other and what that does to the kids. And it's just it's a mess. And at this point in time, 2022, a majority of people my age and younger and even a little bit older, that's all we know. That's all we know. I mean, I was part of the, I want to say I was early on anyways. Maybe not my age, but like I just said, my age and a little bit older was part of that first wave of, if your parents were still together in school, if your parents were still together, you were the oddball. It was kind of weird if your parents were still married. That's wild. That's wild considering just one generation earlier, that wasn't a thing. Like, it took a really big deal for a couple to split up and walk away from that commitment that they made to each other. And listen, anytime that I talk about this stuff, any one of these topics, any one of these episodes, no matter what it is that we're talking about, I know there is exceptions to all of these things. I also know it's not healthy for everybody to stay together, okay? I know that. I'm well aware that it's not super rare for a divorce to be the right move. Okay? I'm not saying that that's not the case. But I just feel like there's little things that derail relationships these days. And it's just because of a lack of that role model, that unbelievable man and woman or just couple. There's just a lack of that example in people's lives these days. So all they know growing up, that's all they know is divorce, all of that stuff. They don't see the other end of the spectrum. I was super blessed to have both of those in my life and be able to see the differences, okay? The differences in the reactions when an argument broke out, the differences in how, just anything. Just to see the difference in the response from both the husband and the wife on both ends of the spectrum. And I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot that leads to that, but the one that I want to cover today, okay, is gratitude. Gratitude is so important. It's so important. It's everything. How many of you have worked your tail off, dedicated X amount of years, X amount of decades to one company, to one job, always hoping for that, just that little bit of recognition, just that little bit of gratitude from the employer's part, and you never get it. And all of a sudden, one day you just wake up, and all of a sudden it's just really hard to give your job that same amount of energy, to give your job that same amount of dedication and focus and loyalty. Relationships are the same exact thing. It's the same thing. Now look, I'm a dad of 3 kids. Okay, so this is something that I have to be very conscious of. For one, what my expectations are for myself, for my other half, and then my expectations of myself towards my other half. I have to be super conscious of that. It's something that I have to kind of think about on a regular basis, a fairly regular basis. It's not, it's not the only thing you can think about every day. It's just important that you make it a habit to just kind of run through your head. When's the last time I said thank you? Like a sincere thank you, not a mopey walking by, hey, thanks for dinner. Go give him a big hug. Go say, you're just such an awesome blank. You're such an awesome mom. You're such an awesome mom. There's nobody else that I would rather do this with. You're such an awesome dad. You are such an awesome dad. You're so good to the kids. There is nobody that I would rather do this with. Thanks for doing the dishes. Thank you so much for doing my laundry. I really appreciate it. I don't know what I would do without you. And give him a big hug. Make it a thing. Make it a moment. Doesn't have to be a big ordeal. Takes 30 seconds, max. And you know what that does? Do you know what that does? That takes, and this is just a potential, this is a hypothetical, okay? It's not all the time. But what happens in that job when you're there for 20 years and they never show any gratification, they never show any gratitude, they never show any appreciation towards you. They never say thank you for those little things that you do, that time that you stay late without getting paid for, the extra tasks that you take on above your job title without any extra compensation. They never say thank you for any of that stuff. And after a while, you don't care anymore. It all builds up because you're not going to say anything. You're not going to go ask for it most of the time, right? But that builds up. It's the same thing in relationships. Over time, you ever get so mad at your other half where you say whatever it is that ticked you off, and then you feel like there's so much more to why you're mad, but you just can't think of it? It's because it's been building. There's this mountain of unspoken garbage underneath you, and it just took this one little thing in this moment to just set you over the top. It took this one little thing on your pile of garbage to just make it overflow out of your mouth. And all of a sudden, there's this big argument, there's all this tension, there's all this just bad energy for it, what was really just this little thing. It's not that little thing that matters, okay? It's not they left a piece of dirty clothes on the floor. It's not that, they forgot to, whatever it might be, forgot to turn on the dryer. It's do the dishes, whatever it might be. That's not what the problem is. It's not. It's all the unspoken. It's all the build up to that point that you guys just, for some reason, never talk about. So this kind of falls into two things: communication, but more so am focusing right now on just gratitude, just appreciation, acknowledgement. That's so important. And what that does, every time you do that, it just kills all that buildup of garbage that's going on in your other half. It's gone. It's gone. You acknowledge them. You showed them, oh no, I do see what you do. And I don't just see it, I love you for it. Thank you. So I could not do this without you. Some of you got to realize that. Some of you may be tricking yourselves and lying to yourselves that you could do that. And could you? Sure. Is the quality of life for everybody involved going to be the same? Is it going to be the same? Because I'll tell you what, one of the things that I'm most proud of and one of the things that's most important to me is that my son, but also my two daughters, see every day how that should work in a relationship. They see every day what it looks like when a man loves a woman. It has nothing to do with, you never put your hands on them, okay? If you get mad, you talk it out or you get away from each other. Sometimes you just got to get away from each other. I work from home, okay? I work from home, this whole quarantine thing for 2 years. We had to homeschool 3 kids that are all in their cuckoo years. Like, it doesn't get much more testing than our last few years. So we've had moments. I mean, we're not, we're humans. We've had moments. Trust me. Okay? But it's how you handle them. It's how you respond to them. It's what you do with that. If all that's on your agenda is just yelling about it and you're not doing anybody any good, just get away. Get away. Go mow the lawn. Go do something. Get away. Cool off. But it's so important to me that my daughters grow up knowing what it looks like when a man loves a woman. Knowing what it looks like when a man appreciates and wants that woman not only in their life, but wants to better that woman's life. The same goes for my son, but from the other side of the spectrum, right? It's very important to me that he sees what that means. What it means to care for your significant other. Okay? Another thing, another little disclaimer. I'm not politically correct, okay? I'm a little bit... I haven't been exposed to a lot of the, cultural shifts over the years. So when I say things like, I want my daughters to know what it looks like when a man loves a woman, that could be, I want them to know what it looks like when a woman loves a woman. I want them to know what it looks like when a spouse loves a spouse. When a spouse respects a spouse. Okay, so please, gender has nothing to do with it. All right? Never will, never has. It just doesn't. The principle remains. The principle is what I just said. I just want those three human beings to grow up without a shadow of a doubt, knowing exactly what it looks like when a man loves a woman. That's what it means to me. Okay? Whatever that means to you or whatever it's going to mean to them. I could not care less as long as the principle remains. Okay? Because I don't care what genders are present in the relationship. That changes nothing about what I'm talking about. That changes nothing. Nothing. The respect, the appreciation, the gratitude, which is the word of the day, the love, it just has to be there. Now, we're going to talk about things in the future that are circumstances in which affect the ability to show these things. They're like infidelity, for instance. I don't know, and again, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I have no idea. But I just don't know how realistic it is to ever truly be able to trust somebody after that. I just don't know. Not once, I made a comment the other day. Once your age doesn't end in teen anymore, there's just no excuse. If you have kids together, you have a family, I don't know how realistic it is to come back from that, but we're going to get into that another day. So my point is, I understand that there's circumstances that might make what I'm talking about not just hard, sometimes not reasonable, not possible. I get that. So, like I said at the beginning, every single topic that we're going to discuss has exceptions. Every one of them. We're humans. There is no cookie cutter, yes or no, right or wrong answer for this stuff. There just isn't. I am just simply talking about in a relationship, an existing relationship, without any of that stuff. The most common lead-ups to these splits, to these divorces, that cause just so much havoc in everybody's life. In everybody's life. I love the fact, and I'm not ever trying to be better than anybody or put myself on a pedestal. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You guys know me better than that by now, so I hope that's not even a thing that would ever cross your mind. But it's one of the things that I'm most proud of, that my three kids know without a shadow of a doubt how their dad feels about their mom. They know, the thought of one of us leaving each other isn't even, that's not a thing. It's exactly how I felt about the good end of the spectrum couple that I was referencing in the beginning of the video. Or the podcast. I don't really know what differs a podcast from a video, but hey, this is the podcast, baby. The Tiz Podcast. The Inner Sauce. What do you think of the name? Took me a while to come up with that. But yeah, man, gratitude. Gratitude, respect, love. Try it out. Try it out. Just make it And again, habits take time. Habits take time to form. It takes time to work on that sort of stuff. But I'm going to tell you right now, you will not regret it. You just try it. If it's not something that you do already, just try it. What I was also getting to earlier, when I said my expectations of myself towards my significant other and my expectations of them towards me are different. It's different. Okay? A mother and a father think differently with 3 kids. She carried them. She birthed them. That's a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. We work our tails off. We try to do the right thing. We do everything we know how to do. Okay? I'm not taking that away from you. But it's just different for the mom. It's just different. So, if she gives you some of what I'm talking about, you better appreciate it. You better give it right back in that moment. Oh, you're such a great dad. Thank you so much for being such a great dad, for being what you are to the kids. I wouldn't trade this life for anything, hon. I wouldn't trade this for anything. You don't have to thank me for that. But they did. So my point is, if you don't get that back, don't hold that as resentment. Don't think that they don't feel those things about you, or that they don't think that about you, or that they don't appreciate you. That's not what that means. Like, Saucy Mom, for instance, we have 3 kids. We have 3 kids together. She's got a million things on her mind all the time. All the gajillion things to do with school. We try to keep them all in sports. My son, some of you guys are aware, has had health issues. Like, and I carry a lot of that too, but it's just different for a mom. It's just different. It's just different. Not everything is cut and dry. Not everything is black and white. Okay? Some of it is a big time stressor. So it's really important that you do these things. It's really important that you show this gratification, this respect, that you go out of your way as often as possible to just make them feel loved, to just show them that you see what they're doing. It's not going unnoticed. That's super important. And if you don't get it back, that's okay. That's okay. They've got a lot on their mind. That's okay. You cannot use that as resentment. You cannot hold on to that. You can't take it personally. You can't. You can't take it personally. But I will tell you, if you find a way, and I strongly encourage that you give it everything you have to find a way to make this a habit, okay? When they do the laundry, whoever it is, when someone does the laundry, when someone does the dishes, when someone makes dinner, when someone whatever, just a hug. Thank you so much for everything you do. Supper was amazing. Like, thank you. We're so lucky to have you. Me and the kids are so lucky to have you. That can be coming from the mom. That can be coming from the dad. That can be coming from both dads. That can be coming from both moms. Irrelevant. It's just important that that happens. Like I said, it's the principle. It's just important that that happens. Who it's coming from doesn't really matter. So, I don't know. I feel like that's just one of the things. The lack of respect, the lack of appreciation, the lack of gratitude. And the crazy part is there might not even be a lack of respect, gratification, appreciation, love. There might not even be a lack of any of those things, but you never friggin' talk about it. You never say anything. You never tell them how you feel. So, in their mind, all these little moments, all these little things that they did and never got a thank you for, all this stuff. And all of a sudden, You leave a plate on the table and the relationship ends. When in your mind you're like, no, I do love you. I do. How is she supposed to know that? What have you done to show her that? Or what have you done to show him that? How would they know that? What have you done to show them? Think about that. Just think about it. It's never too late. It's never too late. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. But young people, if you're going to start a family, you better go into it with a mindset similar to what I'm talking about. You have to. It's the only way it works. Again, I'm not going to throw names because I don't know who watches, but I have immediate family members, okay, close family, that have kids, most of the time unexpectedly. It's just the nature of it. Who plans to have kids, right? That's just weird. Responsible people? No. I just see it. I see it. It's so evident. It's so blatant that they just, oh man, the lack of gratitude, the lack of all these things I'm talking about. Just sum it all up into appreciation. It destroys all of them. It destroys all of them. And that's not fair to anybody. Nobody wants to go to work feeling like that for 20 years. Nobody wants to go home to their safe place with their loved ones feeling like that. You can quit a job. You can get a new job. Nobody wants to have to get a new family. That shouldn't be a thing. It never used to be. Somewhere along the way, it just became totally normal, became totally acceptable to just have some kids and then raise them in broken homes. It's just, it's just the way it is. Why? What happened to fighting for what you love? What happened to working at it? What happened to that? So I guess I feel so lucky for myself, for my kids, for my kids' kids. Hopefully they pass this on. I just feel so blessed that I was given the opportunity to watch this couple operate every day and learn all these lessons of how to show appreciation, how to show gratitude, how to not let a little stupid argument ruin the entire day. I like where this is headed. I'm going to be honest. I like where this is headed. I think we got plenty of stuff to talk about in this realm. And then we'll start bringing on guests, man. Hopefully you can find some guests to bring on. I think it would be cool to bring on one of you guys every week. I think that would be pretty neat. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What's some recommendations for how I can go about picking someone to talk to and have on the podcast. I think that would be super cool. I don't know. But I know that there's a lot more topics that I want to talk about. I'm going to have to start writing this stuff down because a few just came to me as I was trying to make this point. But I don't know. Today's word of the day is gratitude. Gratitude and appreciation. You have to make sure that they're present in your relationship. You have to... I don't know. Again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know jack squat. Anything that's going to be on this podcast is things that I experienced firsthand, things that I have lived, things that I feel comfortable enough sharing my 2 cents on. For one, I'll never talk about anything that I'm not super passionate about, okay? For two, I'm not going to ever speak about something that I don't feel like I know a thing or two about. And in this case, I have a very rare perspective because of my opportunity to see both extreme ends of the spectrum. And I am the son of a broken home, and my parents got divorced when I was 12, it was just tough. It was really tough. All the things that happened after, it's tough. It's tough on everybody. And I talk to my mom and dad on a regular basis. I can't even picture Saucy Mom dropping the kids off at my house. And then, I don't know. I don't know. And like I said earlier, I get there is exceptions to every single thing that we're going to talk about. I get that. It's not always healthy to stay together. If somebody's being abused or anything, I don't want you there. I don't want you in that. You need to get out of that immediately. Nobody deserves to live that way. I'm talking about without any of that stuff present in a relationship. I just feel like it's so worth fighting for. The quality of life, the lessons that you're going to teach your kids about not giving up. If you give up on the woman you started a family with or the man you started a family with, why won't you give up on everything? Why would you ever fight for anything if you're not going to fight for that? Just think about it, man. Do your best to really make this part of your thought process. Do your very best to make it a habit to just show that appreciation. It's going to feel weird at first, I'm sure, if it's something you've never done. It might feel awkward, but who cares? Who cares? Who else can you be vulnerable with if not your spouse? Right? Just do it. And I'm telling you, you're going to turn around and walk away feeling like $1 million, knowing that you just made them feel like $1 million. And that's a pretty addicting feeling, man. That's a pretty addicting feeling. And once you start that cycle, all of a sudden, the days are just better. Everybody's just happier. There's never any unspoken, unappreciated buildup. There's never any mountain of garbage, I don't know. Hopefully you guys got something from this. Hopefully I said something that meant something to somebody. That's all I can hope from this. I don't know, man. Think about it. Think about it. Somebody reached out to me in a DM on Patreon. And this is certainly, I'm not picking on you or anything. I was extremely flattered. But somebody asked if I would have time to do private counseling sessions. That's flattering. Okay? That is like, it really took me back for a second. I was just kind of like, me? Like, I've spent most of my life feeling like I need therapy. Like, I need counseling. Have I really gotten to a place where people feel like they can look at me as that guy? So it was very surreal. It was very humbling, very flattering. But I'm just not I'm not your guy. I'm not educated enough. I'm just not. I would say something wrong, guaranteed. I would screw it up, guaranteed. And I'm okay with that. It's not a bad thing. I haven't gone to school for it. I haven't learned it. Why would I know it, right? It's not a bad thing. So thank you very much for asking me that. But no, that is not something I would be comfortable doing. For those reasons right there, is I'm just not, I know nothing about it. I'm not prepared. I'm very comfortable doing this because this is open for interpretation. This is my opinion on these things. This is from my personal first-hand life experience. And all I'm doing is telling you where I'm at. You guys hopefully can take these things into your life and maybe apply some of them if you think they might help, if it's not something you're doing already. If it is something you're doing already, it's probably something I should have said. If you guys are doing these things, any of the topics that we happen to discuss, talk about it in the comments. You can help people in the comments just as much as I can. SauceyFam is a pretty amazing group of people, and I would lead to believe there is some There is several long-term relationships in the SauceyFam. I'm betting a whole lot on it. I could pretty much guarantee it. There is a lot of very lengthy relationships in the SauceyFam. Guaranteed. Just because of generationally? I'm just making up. Where's Webster at? Get Webster on the phone. I'm making up words here. Now I don't even know the word. Generationally? Is that a word? What am I doing? What's really happening right now? It wouldn't be a SauceyDad video podcast life without some word stumblage. I mean, we made it over a half hour. That's pretty good. It's like world record stuff, to be honest. But yeah, as far as the age groups that are part of the SauceyFam, I'm guaranteeing you there is some very long-running relationships existing. So lean on each other, man. Lean on each other. Lean on each other. I'm only 33. I can only speak from my experience. So I would love for you guys, leave your experience. Leave what, share what makes you happy. Share the little things that your significant other does that helped you guys get to so many years of marriage. Share those things. I don't know. I can't imagine anything in this world worth fighting for more than the person that you've built a life with, or even just started building a life with. Teach your kids that it's worth it. Teach your kids how to overcome these things, how to be the bigger person. In just small instances, Some days, well, I don't want to rob topics from other podcasts. So we'll save this for next week. But I think what we'll talk about next week is, and probably not, I'll probably think of something different and totally forget I said this. So chances are this is for nothing at all. But just in case I do remember, I would also like to touch on, sometimes people just have bad days. Sometimes people have a bad day. And you gotta stop taking it so friggin' personally. It has nothing to do with you. I don't care that it's your significant other. It has nothing to do with you. You are not king squat, okay? Or queen squat. You're not. I hate to break it to you. But they're allowed to have a bad day. I'm allowed to have a bad day. It's okay. That's all right. You gotta know when you're needed and wanted and when you're just not. Just give space. Just don't stop pushing the buttons. Stop digging in the wound. I feel like that's another one that causes relationships to just implode for no reason, when all you had to do was just give some space. Everybody takes everything so flippin' personally, and it just, I don't know. Some people have bad days, and that's okay. That's what we're going to get to next week. That's where I'm going to leave you guys. I don't know. What do you think? The Tiz Podcast, Episode 1, in the books, baby. I feel good about it. I think that was pretty good. Now, I just talked for 40 minutes, and I never once had to feel like I was digging for something to say or making stuff up, or that's what's super important to me, is I want this whole podcast deal, it has to be stuff that just is organic. And that's what I said earlier about it's going to be something I'm passionate about, and it's going to be something that I've lived firsthand. Because I'm not going to sit here and just talk about stuff I know nothing about. I could make a podcast about what it's like to be Avi and tour the world being a professional singer, but I would have to Google it because I have no friggin' idea what that's like. I'm sure it's insane. I'm sure it has a plethora of struggles, and I know nothing about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. It's very important to me that it goes just like this one did, and it's just stuff that I want to say, stuff that I want to offer to people to hopefully help someone. Even if I just help one person today with this podcast, it's worth it to me. It's totally worth it to me. Because I feel like I just said, the opportunity that I was given to see both ends of the spectrum is pretty rare these days, it's unfortunate, but it's reality. You know, a majority of teenagers and people in their 20s leading up to my age and like I said, a little bit older, they don't have that good end of the spectrum example in their life. They've never seen that side of it. The other end is all they know. So what do you think is going to happen to their relationships if all they've ever seen is nasty breakups and divorce and child support and 2 homes and stepmoms and dads? And if that's all that was just life, that's all they've ever seen, what do you think their relationship's going to end up like? What do you think their ability to show appreciation looks like? What do you think their ability to give space, to not take things personally, to not blow up? What do you think their ability to forgive, what do you think any of that looks like? It looks like the trail of people behind them that all did this. It's like a wake of people splitting up behind them. What do you think's going to happen to them? The chances of them starting a brand new tradition, a brand new whatever habit is pretty rare. It's very rare, actually. It's just not likely. It's just not likely. Let's change that. I don't know how appealing the content that I'm going to talk about on these things is to younger people. I hope it is. I hope it means something to somebody, because I think that that's who this has to reach to make any kind of difference. You know? Like, I think about my life. You take that one, okay? I have 10 sets of aunts and uncles, one of which is still married. Several have been married multiple times. And then I have one other couple in my life that is still married. So you take that good end of the spectrum out of my life. If I just didn't have that one couple in my life, that's all I would know. That's literally all I would know. So that's all it takes. That's all it takes is somebody my age not having that one couple. One. In their life to show them that exists. To show them how to do that. To show them values and what to value. If I didn't have them, that's all I would know. That's all I would know. It's crazy to think about. So, like I just said, how many people do you think don't have that one couple in their life? A lot. A whole lot. I would wager to bet it's a lot more that don't have it than those that do. I think that's probably pretty obvious. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's almost definitely the other way around. That's literally all I would know. I wouldn't have learned those lessons. I wouldn't know what to value. I wouldn't think about making my wife feel important. I wouldn't know that matters. So I guess that's who I'm hoping this reaches. I don't know what the likelihood of that is. Probably not very high. But it's worth a shot to me, man. Hopefully this grows into something that someday they do want to watch. And take in and listen to. And because like I said, I'm only 33, but I'm not friggin' gray for no reason, man. I've been through it. I've been through it. From the relationship stuff that we're talking about to all kinds of stuff that we're going to get to in the future. You guys are going to learn a whole lot about me on these podcast episodes. The Tiz podcast, baby. Tis the podcast. The inner sauce. Anywho, SauceyFam. I hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Patrons, like I said, you're going to see this first. It'll be on YouTube on Friday. I know it's only a 3-day advantage this week, but patrons will get these every Monday, 5 days before YouTube does. And that's just going to be the way it goes, man. I'm still trying to get some stuff in order here. Content's going to be right back to the way it was. I need a couple more days, guys. I'm trying. Been running on no sleep a lot. And I know you guys always tell me, take all the time you need, don't worry about it. But it stresses me out, you know, the way that this would happen. Immediately after declaring I'm going full-time. It's, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to let it keep me down. I'm just not. I believe in what I'm doing too much. I see the goals coming into fruition too clearly to just walk away from it now. I'm not. I'm going all in, all or nothing. And I know you guys got my back, so I really can't lose. Hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Episode 1 in the books. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode. I got to come up with an outro for the podcast. Can we use the same outro? Why can't we use the same outro? Let me think here. I'll come up with something. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe out there. Peace out. SauceyFam.